Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the tours that we went on during our American Council of the Blind convention that we went to this past July. It's been about a week since I've gotten back. I am pre-recording these videos at the same time. Anyway, tours. So with convention, there are optional things that you can sign up to do that are outside of the hotel. They always do certain things every year. For example, they will typically do a baseball game. They did not do that this year. They will typically do a casino night. You can't gamble in Florida. I believe that's illegal, so they did not do a casino night this year. However, another thing that they do every year that they did, which we did not go on, was a tour to the School for the Blind. The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind is in St. Augustine, which was about, I think, a half hour, 40 minutes away from where we were in Jacksonville. We did not go on that. Another thing that they do usually is like a brewery or distillery type tour, which again we did not go on. That's okay. That's the beauty of being able to pick and choose what you want. I want to start off with the first tour that we went on, which was iFly indoor skydiving. They modified this for our group, and by they I mean the tour committee people. They are made up of a bunch of ACB members. A lot of them are low vision. The tour committee itself, the tour coordinator, and a few other people who are part of ACB, they do these site visits every year in like the fall prior to convention, where they will go to the various tour sites and kind of talk to the people at the venue, see how they can best adapt the tour to fit our group, and then go from there. With the skydiving, we went about 4 to 6 feet up in the air. I had a friend who was able to get some footage of Ankar and I. We each obviously went separately. When we were in the wind tunnel, there were two people there kind of like holding us, not necessarily holding us, but making sure we didn't like fly away and adjusting our bodies as they saw fit. If we needed to change our positioning of our arm or one of our legs, they would tap us. They did a great job, I thought, of describing the position that we had to be in, kind of sort of like Superman flying. I had a lot of fun. I thought we were gonna go up a little higher than we did, but being our first flights, I'm okay with the fact that we didn't go up as high as we did. I was imagining that we were gonna enter the wind tunnel from the top and kind of fall into it, and I'm really glad we didn't do that. We entered in from a door at the ground level and it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. Our flights were each about a minute-ish, and included in our package for ACB was 1 free photo and 1 free video. They were vouchers that we were given. So of course we have the clips that our friend took of us each when we went in there, but also we have like professional video that was done by the venue. I'm going to put that in now. We each got to do 2 flights. Because of the individualized time that it took on our tour, we had to kind of sit and wait a lot, but that's okay. They also had a few items that you could get as a gift shop sort of thing. I did get a t-shirt. It is tie-dye and it says iFly on it, and it has their little Shaka logo symbol. I'm gonna do like a whole haul in a different video, kind of going over my convention haul stuff. We would have gotten back to the hotel a lot sooner if one of the attendees on our tour tour hadn't had an injury. I don't really know what happened, but she hurt her shoulder. The emergency services people had to come and they did take her away on a gurney. I don't know what happened with her. I think she's okay. Overall, the entire tour that we did for the iFly, I thought it was a lot of fun. I would like to go back and go up a little higher. I think that because it was our first flights and because of the nature of our group, the amount of individualized attention that we each got was valid and warranted, and I would definitely like to do it again, you know, myself separately, maybe go with a couple of friends. Another thing we did, which I didn't vlog at all, we did the city bus tour, which is something that they do every year at every convention that we go to, and the tour guide that we had was really great. He is from Adlib Tours. He was hilarious. It is a tour company that him and his wife started, so it's their small business. He did a really great job. We did kind of stick close-ish to the area surrounding the hotel on our little tour. We passed by some parks. We passed by Peterbrook Chocolate, which is where we got these bags of chocolate covered popcorn that they were handing out. They gave samples to each of us, and then we stopped at Peterbrook Chocolate and the volunteers got off and they went in and got chocolate covered popcorn for whoever wanted it. We just paid them the amount, whatever it was. So Ankar and I got a bag and we split it. It was really good, I thought, and so did he. The popcorn itself was salty and it was really good to have with the chocolate covering on it. It was in like this little tray inside of its plastic bag. We ate it when we got back to the hotel. We didn't eat it on the bus. We had changed into nicer clothes because we had to run to a networking event after. The tour itself was good. It was nice to just be able to sit back and relax on the bus in the air conditioning for a bit. All of those things were on Saturday. We didn't go to any tours on Friday. On Sunday the 7th, we got up early because we went go-kart racing. This was honestly the coolest thing that I think I've ever done in my entire life. Much like iFly, K1 Speed was closed to the public. They were only open for our event. And the way that they did this was so cool. There were about 30 of us, much like the group at iFly. So everybody went on the track about 3 at a time. And for those who needed a guide, they had a running guide, a person physically next to them, running next to their go-kart, shouting directions, you know, like left, right, stop, go, whatever. Ankar and I were the only ones who did not need a guide because we are able to see enough to navigate the track. So because of that, one of the people at K1 who was kind of organizing everything, when we were sitting there queued to go, he said, okay, since you guys don't need a guide to navigate the track, we are letting you two go yourselves, separate from the groups of 3, and you're not getting a speed cap. He said he was either upping our speed or we weren't getting a cap. He told me he was upping our speed, but I really don't think that he gave us a cap because we flew. Like, I remember I put my foot down harder on the gas and I flew at one point and it scared the hell out of me, but it was so much fun. Ankar beat me. He did not let me win, which is kind of rude, but it's okay. I am gonna put in kind of a video of that as I'm talking. A friend of mine caught the exact moment that he passed me when we were going around one of the turns, and because I can't see on my right side, I have no vision out of my right eye, I kept hitting the track on the right unintentionally. Mainly as we were going around turns, I was kind of misjudging, and because of that, it was obviously making a pretty nasty sound as I hit the side of the track, but I think that's okay. It was a lot of fun. One of the tour volunteers, who is also a very high partial, he was like, did you leave any of that track intact when I got out? And yeah, I think I did. It was so awesome. It said that we went around 6 laps and that my best lap was my 6th one. To be honest with you, it blurred completely. Like, I don't know where the lap was, like the line like to cross for like each lap, but I don't care. Like, just the experience, it was so much fun. We did stay there for quite a bit, obviously, because everybody needed like their individual attention going on the track with each group of 3, and then I think they did let somebody else go separately themselves on the track who could see a little bit. I don't really know. I wasn't really like watching them, and of course we did get a couple of things from their gift shop area. I got a t-shirt, Ankar got a hat, I also got a hat for my dad. It was just such a fun experience. Like, I don't think that I'm ever gonna be able to go go-karting again like that. Like, we would have to rent out the track much like ACB did, good. I can't talk good enough about that tour, about the go-karting thing. The way that the venue handled us was great. They treated us like human beings, much like the iFly people. Just like the overall experience, like the fact that we were able to do this ourselves, and the fact that the people who needed guides, like they were controlling the cart. It was just such a cool thing to happen. None of us can drive. We're not going to be able to drive. Having an autonomous vehicle drive for us is not the same thing as actually driving the vehicle. It was amazing. I had the best time. Like, I would love to go back and do that again at a K1 in the future. Don't know how feasible that would be, but it would be cool to do. On Monday, we went to Hannah Beach Park. There were two groups that went. We were in the 4 o'clock. There was a 2:30 that went. I felt really bad for the 2:30 people, and it is out of everybody's control. It was really nasty weather when they were supposed to be there. So it was like 2:30 and it was actively thundering and lightning, and they were there. Like, I called one of my friends who was coming with us at the 4 o'clock. Her husband was there at the 2:30 because he was a volunteer, and she was like, yeah, they're there, they left. So Ankar and I were looking at each other, and we were looking outside our hotel room window, and we were like, I don't know if we're going to the beach. But we actually had a great time, and I felt so bad for the 2:30 people because they did not have a great time. They sat under the pavilion the whole time. They had their food, but they couldn't get out and they couldn't go to the water because of the active thunderstorm happening. When we got there, some people did leave from the first group, understandably, because they were not happy, and I felt really bad. Our bus to get us was also like about a half hour late. We were supposed to leave at 4 from the hotel. We didn't end up leaving until 25 of 5. Then we got to the beach a little after 5 because the bus had an issue getting to the beach just because of the bad weather that was going on. That's, again, like out of everybody's control. It's nobody's fault. The food was, I thought, pretty good. It was cookout food. It was catered. You know, you had your choice of a hot dog, a burger. You could get macaroni salad. I think there was regular salad as well, or coleslaw rather. For dessert, there was peach cobbler. There was also baked beans, I think, for a side as well. You could get either water or sweet tea. I got sweet tea, iced tea. And for my food, I got a burger and a hot dog because I was hungry, and some pasta salad. And I think, no, it wasn't pasta salad, it was mac and cheese. So I got coleslaw. I don't think I got pasta salad because there was none. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember, but I know I got a burger and a hot dog. The peach cobbler was really good. Then as we were sitting eating dinner, the thunder and lightning had stopped. It was misting a little bit, so we did go down to the water, which was great. I'm gonna put in some pictures and a little clip of my friend's guide dog running in the waves as I'm talking right now. The water was so warm. Now, I'm used to the beach water in Maine because I've been going to Maine before I was born, basically, and going to the beach like since I was a baby, and the water up here is cold. The water in Florida obviously was not. It reminded me kind of Hawaii's water in that it was so warm. The waves were a lot because of the storms that were happening, that had just happened. I can't remember if the tide was going out or in. I think the tide was going out as we were going down there, but it was just such a relaxing way to start our chaotic week. It was so much fun being in the water, hanging out with our friends, and being in that safe environment with everybody else, and just having that time to like decompress before the rest of the week happened. Tuesday we didn't do any tours. We hung out at the hotel, hung out with some of our friends, walked through the exhibit hall again, which is where we spent most of our time because every time we were there it's like we discovered new things. Wednesday we went to Sweet Pete's, which is a candy shop. I have some thoughts about that. This is nobody's fault, but I do have like some criticism that I want to talk about. We got there, we had lunch, which was fine. It was good. The candy store is attached to a restaurant that's named something else. I can't remember. Because we were with our big group, obviously, we did not eat off the regular restaurant menu. We had 3 meal options to choose from. Ankar got a pulled pork sandwich. One of our friends who was sitting with us got the veggie wrap. I got the corn dog. My corn dog came with 2 corn dogs and waffle fries. I think the other meals also got waffle fries from what I recall, and they were pretty good. I had ketchup with my fries. Sometimes if like they're not super flavored or seasoned or whatever enough, I want to have ketchup with them. They were good. The corn dogs I thought were good. Our friend who had the veggie wrap thought it was good. Ankar said that the pulled pork sandwich was also pretty good. We had lemonade or water to choose from for our drinks. We all got lemonade, I think. I didn't really like it that much. I thought that it was too watered down. Ankar said that his was very watered down. So I think it's just like it was the end of the fountain or whatever for the lemonade, which again wasn't the end of the world. It was included with our tour price. It was fine. I just don't think the way they executed this overall tour was done well. Again, I don't think this is any fault of ACB's. This is no fault of the tour committee. I think this is fully on the venue. So there were 40 of us total, I think, which meant that we were split into groups. So there were 20 of us in our group that ate lunch first and did the tour and the shopping after. The first group did the opposite. They did the tour and the shopping and then they ate. So, you know, there were less of us going throughout the space. I really think we could have done without traipsing around the whole entire place. The venue used to be a house, I think. First, we went to their retail space that was on the main level after we ate. That is where they sell their candy that they make there on property. Upstairs is where they have things that are repackaged from other sellers. The guy talked to us there on the main level. He gave like a spiel about how they make some of their candies. Then we went upstairs, which took a while because there was a group of us. Some people needed the elevator and the elevator was very small, so there was that. The stairs also took a bit. Some people needed extra help. Also, the venue was open to the public, which made it a little more difficult to navigate with our group and with the people from the public. So we went upstairs. We were in a hallway where part of us were kind of up on a raised level, like a couple steps up, and the rest of us were down on the main hallway area because there wasn't enough room. It was a lot of people in a very small space. He talked to us more about how they make their candy, and then we continued on into another sort of sub-level area that looked down into their packaging and cutting. I got a bad case of claustrophobia during this time, which doesn't normally happen to me. I felt like I was like pushed against the window and there were people like very close quarters to me. I just felt like I needed to move out into the rest of the hallway. Ankar was luckily right there. I told him, I was like, I need to move, like I need to get out of this space that I'm in right now. Once I was standing in the hallway, like a little further away from the window, I felt better. We were standing with a friend of ours who's a guide dog user. She said that she did not have a good experience because I don't know if it was people from the public or people from our group, but people kept shoving her and yelling at her. She's a fast walker with her dog, and some people thought that she should have slowed up a bit and stayed with our group. I don't really know what went on with that, but it was just very difficult, us going up there and then coming back down, and then by the time we get down there and we're trying to do the shopping, there was nobody to help. The tours that ACB does, they come with a few people who are volunteers. There are usually like 4 to 8 tour volunteers. Half of them were with the group eating, the other half were with us. Because of the size of the group, also the retail space that we were on the main level, because obviously everybody wanted their chocolate that they make there. It was very small and it was open to the public, and you had people going in and out, creating a bottleneck. You had our group, a lot of people needed assistance. You had the volunteers who were stretched so thin, and then you had like 2 total employees helping us, I think. One of them was behind the counter partially because they had a case with fudge and other stuff. The other one was the guy who did our tour throughout the venue. I had used the magnifier on my phone. I was looking at some of the stuff in the case, the truffles, get the labels, trying to figure out if I wanted anything, and there were some stuff that were not labeled. And so I asked the guy who was our tour guide, I was pointing to something very specific in the case, and I asked him what the light colored truffle was in the case, because that's what I wanted to know, because it didn't have a label on it that I could see. He was like, oh, those are our truffles. They're all different kinds. Some of them have sprinkles, like they're all different. And then he was explaining to me what a truffle was, and then he immediately turned away from me and was talking to somebody else. So then I decided not to get any truffles because I really didn't know what they had to offer. So Ankar and I unfortunately ended up delegating ourselves as volunteers because we can kind of see enough to assist people. We paid to be on the tour. Now I know that we could have just not done that. We could have just sat back and let other people help the people who needed assistance, but in good conscience, I can't not help someone who needs help. I ended up kind of just buying a few things. I got some fudge for myself. I got some for my dad. I got some packaged things like some naked salted caramels, some chocolate covered salted caramels, some peanut butter candies. And then we each got a custom candy bar that we could pick from through email ahead of time, like when we signed up for this tour, like before we got there, when we pre-registered, whatever. So because of that, they were handing out all of our candy bars on the bus ride home, which was great, like, and that was a much better way to do it. They all had our names on them and it was very organized, but the tour experience itself I thought was not that great. And I felt bad for the tour coordinator, who obviously like put so much time and effort into this, and I think she had asked that there be more people there to assist, but because it's a small business and they have such a tight budget, they couldn't really do that, and they couldn't not close to the public to just have us, because then they would have lost a lot of business, which is understandable. But I just think the way that things happened left a lot to be desired. Something that we did not go on, but a bunch of our friends did, was the Kennedy Space Center tour that happened on Friday the 12th. We went home that day. I just couldn't personally justify the cost of that. I know that it's a bucket list item for a lot of people, and I'm glad they were able to go. And from what a friend of mine told me when I asked her how it went, she said that it was great. It was pretty accessible. They had a lot of extra docents there helping them. They were able to touch rockets and engines and things. The lunch with the astronaut that they did was really cool, she said, and he was really funny and great with the group. I don't know how it was with the Mars simulator, like how that went, because I didn't ask and I didn't hear from anyone. So if you are watching this and you went to Kennedy Space Center and you did the Mars simulator thing, which I think was included with the ticket, leave a comment. I'm really interested to hear how that went. Personally, next time if I am down in the Orlando area, I would rather go to Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center from there. I've never been, and it's always been something kind of on my radar, but like not fully. Our Lyft driver back to the airport on Friday said that there is a Greyhound that goes from Orlando to Cape Canaveral. I don't know if that same thing existed from Jacksonville, but it was about a 2-ish hour bus ride from the hotel to Cape Canaveral, and the cost of the Kennedy Space Center tour was about $330 per person, and that's also factoring in the cost of the gas for the bus, the fact that they have extra docents helping the group, the fact that they did add-ons for the ticket. So they got the base ticket obviously, and then they did the lunch with the astronaut, which was one add-on, and the Mars simulator thing, which was the second add-on. Like, those are paid things that you can choose to do. From what my friend said, she told me they did not get to go to the gift shop, which was a bummer, but that's just because of the amount of time that they had. It was an all-day tour. Onkar has been to NASA in Virginia at Wallops Island because he did like a fellowship when he was in undergrad for 2 years, and they had to code payloads for rockets or something. So he went there twice. So our mindset is that if we're down in Florida in the future, like to go to the theme parks, that maybe we'll take a day and go to the Space Center. Overall, I think that the tours ACB offered this year were really good. Pretty consistently, actually, they're good. I had a lot of fun at the tours last year in Schaumburg, and every year that I've gone on tours, I've had a pretty enjoyable time, except for maybe 1 or 2 places, but that's not an ACB issue, that's a venue issue. I'm thinking specifically of the Chicago History Museum from last year, but I really think that they should continue tours. A lot of people think that they should not. The one big differentiation between the ACB and NFB conventions is that ACB does tours, NFB does not. I really think that tours are a good thing. I know that it takes a lot of time and a hell of a lot of planning to do so. They have to charter buses. They have to get drivers for the buses, obviously. We had an issue with that this year. We kept getting different drivers, probably because of their schedules or something. We would have one and then they would quit and then we'd get a new one, but it was fine. The tours offer a great safe space for people to go and do these things. Like Kennedy Space Center is something that a lot of people would not have been able to do if it were not for ACB, because there were the additional help with the docents and the tour volunteers and everything that was going on. The fact that ACB works closely with these venues to ensure that we have a decent experience because we are paying a premium to go on these things, it really makes me glad to be a member of this organization. Like, I would not have been able to do go-karting outside of ACB the way that we did it. I know that if I were to go go-karting again myself, I wouldn't be able to go with the general public. I would accidentally be hitting other people, and that's a penalty that they take you out for a lap. If you hit someone, they take you out. For me, because I have no depth perception and neither does Onkar, we were able to do it safely with just the 2 of us on the track, and we had a great time. I don't know how feasible it would have been for us to rent out the track for just 2 of us. Like, that would have been a lot of money versus the amount that we paid to go on the tour with ACB. While I'm not remembering the number offhand, it wasn't an absurd cost, and it certainly would have been more if it would just been the 2 of us renting the track out versus ACB renting the space for our event for the 3 or 4 hours that we were there. I am a really big advocate for having tours. I know that some people think they're a mixed bag. Some people think we should get rid of them altogether. There's been a lot of discussion going around this on the email list with ACB, and I really do genuinely think, along with the other people who think this, if ACB got rid of tours, you would see a drastic decrease in attendance at convention. Some people go to convention and they do a ton of tours. Some people only come to do like a couple of specific tours, and the rest of the time they do stuff at the hotel. I had one friend, the only tour she was doing was Kennedy Space Center, because that was like a big bucket list item for her. Everything else she did was in the hotel, like included, or she did like a luncheon that was an extra paid thing or whatever. I don't know. I personally think that the tours are a needed thing that we should continue. Next year in 2025, it's going to be in Dallas at the Hyatt Regency. The hotel looks pretty good. I already peeped it online. The year after, they don't have anything planned, and I'm concerned. So I hope that something ends up happening and that it is something that involves outside excursions. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one, which will be maybe the final part of this convention series. We're gonna do a little haul and talk about some final thoughts and wrap up. Bye!